Hello to all. I'm hoping all is fine with everyone. We will start this webinar at 4 p.m. And now, greetings to all. All, we appreciate your attendance today. So, let's kickstart our session with a great quote. So, coming to the quote, HR analytics is the future of HR. It's about using data to make better decision, improve employee engagement, and drive business success. And a very good afternoon to all the guests and dignitaries. In this capacity as your host for the worldwide webinar on HR analytics, I, Lakshmi, the host, would like to take this opportunity to extend a hearty greeting to each and every one of you. It gives me a great pleasure. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry. It gives me a great pleasure to extend a warm hello to each and every one of you gathered here today. It's a huge honor for us to have someone of this caliber here whose involvement on the topic of HR analytics X adds so much values. HR analytics is a process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting human resources data to make informed decisions. It involves using various metrics and tools to understand employee performance, engagement, and satisfaction. By leveraging data driven insights, HR professionals can optimize their strategies, improve employee experience, and contribute more effectively to organizational goals. SEMS Welfare Foundation is a registered not a non-profit organization is dedicated to social impact across various sectors. We focus on education, particularly skill development and entrepreneurship. Through our initiative Digi Saksham, we have created training program in IT, finance, retail, and entrepreneurship, impacting over 6,000 individuals. We are currently upskilling inmates in Haryana jail and collaborating with universities and colleges. We have also partnered with banks to place over 1,500 candidates in job. Fem Leads, another SEMS initiative, empowers women through workshops and stories of successful female entrepreneurs. We conduct programs on digital literacy, marketing, and career development, reaching over 1,000 women across multiple states. This initiative recently reached a milestone of 100 women actively involved. In just a short time, SEMS has established itself as a force for positive change, equipping individuals with skills for employment and promoting women leadership in various industries. Now, let me take this wonderful occasion to publicly present and welcome Dr. Mr. Karthikeya sir. So, in this presence, Karthikeya, with over 2 decades of experience as HR and IT professionals from Hyderabad, he has been mentoring students who had startup ideas from idea phase till the real time production level since last 7 years in cybersecurity and AI. His past experience as a HR into recruitment and hiring, talent acquisition, relations, rewards and recognition, compliance, labor laws. He has conducted many trainings on various aspects of HR and motivations, photographies, soft skill and leaderships. And now, so with this, there are many gems and diamonds in this world, and one of them is here today to help us build this event. With this note, I, Lakshmi, on behalf of SEMS Welfare Foundation, would like to give my heartiest welcome to Mr. Karthikeya, with a huge round of applause for joining us today.
Very much. Thanks for this invitation, and I'm really glad to interact with the people. But moreover, I would like to see if I am allowed to make this a more interactive session rather than just going out in a one-sided session. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
because
Yeah, so
yeah,
actually
because I don't want to.
sorry to interrupt you, sir. So these are just the ground rules, but they are very much allowed to unmute themselves and and answer to all your queries during your session.
Okay, so thanks for that, ma'am.
Yeah.
So depending on the bandwidth and the other aspects, I'll just turn off my video and keep it off because I don't want any other network disturbances to come in between. So good evening, everyone. So I hope everyone are doing great, and we are going to start the session now. But before that, I would like to quickly understand. Okay, what comes to your mind when we say HR? Can somebody answer me? The best interactive, the ones who do the best interaction will get the Amazon gift card from me. I'm offering gift.
Wow, nice, sir.
I want
HR
this
is
to be.
basically, yeah. Can I speak?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, HR is basically dealing with human beings in an organization. Like human resources is the most important asset in an organization. Where on
Right.
a day-to-day, the success of an organization depends mostly upon how its human beings who are working there are and what quality they have. So,
Oh,
and taking
fantastic.
care of them from the time of recruitment till the time they leave or retire, everything is related to HR.
Wonderful. May I know your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Nana.
Okay. Thank you, Naina, for that. And that's good. I mean, like, that's really good. Any one more? Would like to try what comes to your mind when I say HR? Okay. Before that, let me ask you: are you all? I mean, like, what is it you are pursuing currently? Which course?
I'm not currently pursuing anything. I'm teaching in a college.
Oh, wonderful, man. So, do we have students as well here?
Yes, a few of them are there.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
no problem. So the basic thing is when we talk about HR, because it's almost like close to 18 years I served in HR. Okay, I see a huge generation gap in terms of HR operations before I get into the actual topic today. The reason being, when we say HR, okay, he or she is the person who is the actual backbone or pillar of the organization, who actually brings in the resources, allocates the every single requirement of every vertical in such a way that the business has got a smooth running, right? So they are the ones who have got great knowledge about how to deal with people, how to deal with systems, how to deal with policies, procedures. When we say NHR, they are imagined like a god in an organization. Whether somebody is teaching HR or somebody is executing HR. I served in HR for 18 years into operations from an HR executive level, and then I taught even HR and business analytics for 4 years for institutions like private universities in Telangana, and then Kirloskar Institute of Management and all these things. But the only factor I see today in this generation HR, I'm sorry to say, because the kind of gap that is building is beyond chat GPT, and everyone are like not following the general HR process. Okay. So I have some quick questions before we basically get into the actual discussion of analytics. What are the top three responsibilities of an HR for any organization? Can somebody tell me?
To recruit the persons for different purposes, to
So,
develop their potential, provide the
okay.
training, put in place where the HR persons are required,
Mhm.
and future development.
Great. Thank you. Any other?
Sir, it's not only recruiting, it's the overall operations, starting from the recruitment till the retirement, and also on how to keep their employees happy, because happy employees keeps the company running. So, following the labor laws, everything comes under HR, and also analysis of why there is this return, like in case if people are leaving a company on a regular basis, so taking an analysis, taking a report of it, and also doing an exit interview on whenever the HR is whenever any person is leaving, so that we can as a company can improve. And all these things has to be aligned, framing strategies to the future of the company. It has to be aligned with the vision and mission of the companies. So so this is an other extra features which an HR is supposed to do. And also
Okay.
employee engagement also plays a crucial part of an HR's life.
Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. So may I get both of your names, please, again?
So I am Lakshmi, like yes.
Okay, ma'am. Sir, may I get your name, sir?
Ghansham Das Garg.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So pretty much, we got the whole gist of what HR is all about. So primarily, when we talk about HR, many people have this perception that it is only about recruitment or talent acquisition. That's it. HR department will not work anything. But it is a very, very wrong approach, and this is something that is being taught to many youngsters in this. Like, if you want to get into HR, you must be good at recruitment or selection process, or you must be good with talent acquisition. That's it. That's not just going to be into HR, because this is something beyond that. Like, we talk about job posting, advertising, candidate screening, onboarding under talent acquisition, recruitment, which is very general. But training and development is something that comes under the HR, where they design the training programs, they look after the PMS, performance management system, they look after the career development programs, they look after the employee relations and engagement, how better to employ. Like one of our participants said, employee retention, what are the compensation benefits? and what are the compliance and legal responsibilities, and what is the strategy that is needed to run the HR, and what HR can do for organization development. I mean, it's like the HR department is totally carrying the whole system on their shoulders. Imagine one wrong HR stepping into an organization will ruin the whole system. Because if you are hiring a wrong person, if you're not doing a proper background verification, if you're not assigning a proper training, if you're not maintaining proper employee record, if you're not caring about the employee health and well-being, if you're not strategic at work, if you are actually doing something like compliance, if you're not very strong in terms of compliance and legal responsibilities as an HR, if you're not having any knowledge about compensation and benefits, and even if you don't know how to do the exit management for an employee, trust me, that organization is going to see the hell, not heaven. Because we have come across so many people, and unfortunately, today in the system, in some of the startups and some of the corporates, I'm seeing these kind of people who doesn't even know how to analyze a profile. Because honestly, to tell you, this generation kids are so smart that they stopped writing their resumes. Everything is chat GPT. Rather, everything is AI based resume. Is there anybody who says no? Do we agree with that?
Yes. So nowadays, even the LinkedIn portal itself makes the resume for us
It makes the
based
resumes
on
and
the.
they're converting it to
Huh.
PDF.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and especially they make the resumes for each and every job profile. Say, for example, if we are applying for an HRBP role, you just tell that okay, I want a resume, and they will ask you for which criteria. If you just put HRBP, it aligns itself in a proper way that the experience of HRBP comes first and then the rest. So it's all written ready made. No one actually writes it on their own.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Because nowadays, I mean, like whatever you said, when we look at the kind of profiles that we are getting, it will not take more than 10 seconds to understand whether it is a self-made profile or it is something that is being designed from Google. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, yes.
Reason being, pretty much people are like that. They feel like, okay, I can do this, I'll be able to get it done, and system is doing it. And such people, when they make the profile, when they come for interview, unfortunately, if they get selected, imagine the condition of that organization, what type of people they are going to recruit, and what type of systems they are going to build with in terms of policies, procedures, and where will this whole thing end up? Point number one, in order to control all these issues, to make sure that technically everything is falling in place after so many years, people have come up with something called analytics, right? So before I start that, these are the 12 major functions that we actually perform, which we already spoke, the HR functions. So there is one area where people don't really like to either step in or take up that vertical of HR, which is performance management, because people really, many people say, no, I don't want to get into PMS because that's something where I start judging people. I want to analyze people because they themselves are not confident about it. And there is one more area, developing the industrial relation. Can I ask this question? How many of you are members of any professional body associations? Anything? Is there anyone like I'm a member of IMA, All India Management Association, or NHRD? Did we develop that network?
I am the member of Indian Institute of Materials Management.
Great, sir. Thank you so much. Anyone else, please? We need to be the purpose why. Just now we had, I believe it's Shyamdas Garu again, who said that he's a member of, that material science thing. Because if he is in that, people will actually recognize and identify what are his strengths, and his abilities will be considered, and he will be called for any such assistance needed for the rest of the people in the same group where he can be a mentor. Am I right, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
So your experience is needed not only for you or for your organization. The rest of the world needs your experience. There are a lot of areas where you can get benefited not just with money, but still with your ability and skill. And that's where many people are missing. Every year I spend almost 36,000 for memberships for various boards. And I'm on the board of close to 15 professional bodies today as a life member, as an annual member. Reason being, I'm sharing my knowledge. Knowledge transfer is what I'm doing. So coming back to HR, these are some of the major functions that anybody will do. There are many organizations who neglect on well-being. There are many organizations who neglect on health and safety. There are many organizations who take the reward and recognition very light. They don't bother what is the employee doing. So lot many factors. Now, before I show this text, can I get to know as per you what is data? Now we are getting to the actual discussion. What do we mean by data?
So data is of two types. Primary is which we take directly from in a conversation with an employees. Say in case if we want to know how an employee feels, right? So during the performance cycle evaluation and all, when we have a one-on-one session with the when we so whenever we have a one-on-one session, so that is a primary data which we are collecting from the employee. Yeah, and then coming, there is one more which is secondary, which we have taken it from the past and we are doing a research on it. Can I eat that?
Okay.
Ha.
Data may be
So
personal data, maybe a
yes,
financial
sir.
data, maybe profile of the person.
Right, sir.
Data is data is basically any information regarding anything, whether it may be about a person, about a place, about anything. The data means all the details about something.
Right. So we can collect that data like ma'am has said, when we talk about primary data, we can get it through questionnaires, we can get it from interviews, we get it from observations, we get through a lot of experiments, field research. Am I right? So that is a
Yes,
kind
yes,
of a primary data where it is a kind of a
yes.
first-hand information.
Yeah,
Now,
correct. Yes.
when we do research, we call it as a secondary data, where we go through some articles, we get some data from that, some inputs from that, which we use as a referral for some other publication or through some government reports or from newspapers. This is a secondary data. But however, whatever the information we gather in terms of anything with respect to numbers, images, text, whatever, and consolidatedly we keep it at a place and say that this is what I have in hand. That's when we call it as I have some data in hand. It can be to anything. It can be to financial, scientific, cultural, geographical, transport, anything. Today I'm traveling. If I'm traveling to airport from my office, now Uber will estimate and tell me, okay, from your office, Uber is going, I mean, airport is at this much distance and this is the kind of fare that would cost. How would Uber know this? The kind of recording that has already been made by the Google Maps that will assess with the data it has in hand. Like, okay, this is around 40 kilometers. For every kilometers this much. So finally, this is the fare that you get. So data is something that can be collected through various resources. Now you're also gathering some data through this presentation. Maybe if you think it is really useful, you'll take this recording and you might use it somewhere. Or if you think you wanted to use this presentation, I don't mind. I'll share this presentation with you and you can use it anywhere. It's not like I've done a copyright on this. So data is something that can come to us in any format from any source, in terms of the information that we look for. But the only thing that we need to really look at is it the current data or the old data? Number one. Number two, what is the quality of the data? What is the quality of the data? I think we have faculty here from colleges. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please.
yes, sir. Yeah, sorry. So actually, even data also, no. When we are taking the data, the most appropriate will be the current data with around at least 6 months of the previous data. And then we can make an analysis on how to proceed further.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. Because I have a family of three people who are from a statistics background. Except me, everyone are from statistics background and working as data scientists. Every day, it's been almost starting from my father's generation, being a statistics person. I've been seeing bundles of data lying in my home from hospitals, from researchers, from colleges. Every day, I see bundles of data flowing in. But the way it is consolidated, it is collected, it is redesigned, it is, I can say, it is a kind of a re-postmortem I do to ensure that the data is realigned into the system in a proper format for a ready analysis to be done. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
We need to structure the data very well. That's where many people fail. Number one, my data is current data. I want the population of the last 6 months, or else some XYZ college want to go for admissions. So they wanted to get the data of the students who passed out in their intermediate or 10 plus 2 colleges in the nearby areas. But just imagine what that 10 plus 2 college gives some other data which is 4 years old rather than which is not the previous most recent data. Do you think that data will be helpful for us?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. Even
It is
even
not
balance
helpful.
sheet, even balance
Hmm.
sheet of few years will give the health of the organization.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So accuracy in terms of data is something which is always important that we must certainly. There's a common saying in data analysis, which is called as in a statistical term, I'm saying it's called garbage in and garbage out. Garbage in is I get, trust me, I used to see a lot of data even as an HR. When I ask the candidates to submit some information or my employees to submit some information, I get a lot of such unwanted content which I really have nothing to do with it. And after a lot of filtration, I get only 20 to 30% of what I require. So I garbage out all those information which is really not needed. When you look at the resume of the candidate, it will be more than 70% of the content which is not relevant he or she has applied. And you will be like, why did I get this problem? So we can put a lot of thoughts and effort into your data analysis and come up with lots of results. But your results will mean nothing if the input of the data is not accurate. When I say accurate, like for example, now I wanted to do some analysis about a patient who is lying in the hospital, or I wanted to know, okay, how many people, I'm not sure if you people have done this anytime. For a particular college, I wanted to understand this year how many admissions have happened from which place, location wise, state wise, gender wise, caste wise, again, fees wise, how much has been paid within this range. If I want this data as a principal or a chairman of the college, if I want this data and a detailed report on this with a graphical representation, how much time do you think one expert would need? Did you understand the problem or shall I repeat it again?
Yes, it will take a lot of time
Okay, sir. Why should it take a lot of time?
because the data has to be structured in a particular form. Then only useful information can be derived.
Absolutely. That is where people are failing. If I have to speak in terms of statistics or in terms of an HR today, if the CEO of my company calls me and says, being an HR, or if I'm in a top rank, like as a GM HR, if the CEO calls and says, Karthik, I would like to know how many people you have hired in the last 6 months, gender wise, place wise, within this bracket of salary, and who are into which what departments of the company, can you get me the statistics as a report? Then I cannot say like, okay, just give me 2 days, I'll submit it, or give me 24 hours, I'll submit it, because that looks very odd. That sounds very odd. If I have my data structured in the next 5 minutes, I should be able to generate a report and say, boss, in the last 6 months, these are the stats. How is it possible? It is all depending on how you structure your data. Today, if I want to have such a huge database, if the admissions department of a school or a college doesn't follow proper data structure in a computer terminology, they will never be able to know how many admissions they have done. If an HR of an organization doesn't know how to actually define and store the data of an employee performance, they will never be able to do an appraisal properly. They will never be able to conduct an employee engagement or reward and recognition properly. Plus, they will never be able to find which employee is working under which vertical all of a sudden if somebody asks. So that is where you one must understand why is it so important that one needs to definitely understand important of data cleaning, because HR data is often very dirty at times. When I roll out a Google form or when I roll out a general information to a candidate, sending an email, fill this form about your, total data, I get all nonsense at times on that information, which I really don't need. And dirty data or the data records that contains errors. I've seen so many professionals, I'm sorry to openly say this. People come to us very regularly. They're having masters, PhD, everything. And the way they design the Excel sheets, okay, the way they design the Excel sheets, trust me, my dear colleagues, I'm very sorry to say that you will not be able to do anything with the data in Excel. The first row of the Excel sheet will have headings. The next 10 rows has the data. Again, 11th row has got another heading, and next 10 rows have got the data. Again, the next row has got the heading. Do you really think that is the kind of pattern in which we should manage the data? Is it the correct order? Yes, no. We all use Excel, right?
No, it should not be like that.
It should not be like that. See, Excel sheet very clearly says on the top of the sheet, I have one option for heading. And
All
in
the
one sheet,
headings,
I
all the
mean, the
headings.
first row completely is meant for headings. Let it be even
Yes,
1,000 columns you have. The headings must
yes,
go only in the first row. You cannot
yes.
keep the headings anywhere in between, because if you start putting them, you are actually disturbing the data and there is nothing that can be done. You can in fact use the freeze panes on the Excel, which even if you scroll down 100 rows, still you can see the headings on the top. This is something many experts are missing, and they come out with the data, and I take more than 72 hours to repair the data, clean it, especially from the doctors. The way they get the patient data is pathetic. And I feel like if this with this kind of research, if they treat the patient, how soon they will die. That's the one fear I see, because many doctors feel like, okay, I'm doing it correctly, but unfortunately it is not. Even in the companies, there is a tool which I regularly use called Crystal Report. This Crystal Report is something which helps me to generate report in less than 5 seconds. I prepare a template and keep it ready. I have my data in Excel. Whenever I need a report, I drag those columns into this report structure and I leave it, it will generate a report even if it has got 5 to 10 lakh of records. Yes, so it means one must understand what is the way how you design the data, how you structurize the data, how do you use that data, how do you publish that data, and how do you make reports of those the data, because then only the actual term called analysis will come in place. This is what we call as data management. This is what we just spoke. Where do you use the data in terms of data integration, master data management, data security, data standards? Many things are, but everything speaks only about data. Everything speaks about data. Data architecture. Imagine your departments in your college. If your department has got 15 faculty and your website is supposed to have the data of the faculty and it has got irregular data, like when I open who are the faculty on your college website, it shows, okay, Mr. Karthik, assistant professor. Next, Mr. XYZ, professor. Next, Mr. ABC, scholar. Again, Mr. 1234, professor. What is the serial hierarchy? First are the professors, next associate, next assistant, next research scholar. When somebody looks at that information, that should be very professional and feel like, okay, the hierarchy is good. How do you structure? What is the architecture you follow? Data warehouse. Imagine, sir or ma'am, today you order something on Amazon or Swiggy, Instamart. How are you able to get within 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, one day? Such a huge warehouse. How is it able to publish the data or send you the deliveries in less than 1 hour, or if it is needed in 15 minutes? Do we use them? Swiggy, Amazon?
Yes.
How is it possible?
Because of data management, they have all our data. Even if you think about something, it will appear, advertisements will start coming on your phone, so on our social media sites and everything. So that
Exactly.
is how they manage their data.
If you go to a smallest pharmacy store also, if you ask for a tablet, he will check in the system. He will get to know which rack, which box is this tablet existing. But those seconds may, oh, he will take the tablet out and give us out. But when we come back to our home, being a housewife, a mother or a housewife will have a lot of struggle in finding certain things which she stores in a regular place, which are actually disturbed by the rest of the family members. And that's where our warehousing goes total toss. I hope you people agree. We don't keep the things in place from wherever we take. Everything has its own place. We don't do. And always we trouble the mother or the wife who is always struggling in the kitchen. We take the coffee, keep the cup somewhere, which is actually not the place. It should be in the sink. So when you go to Amazon, they have a huge repository of information. Less than minutes or seconds, they'll be able to identify and they'll be dispatching you. Swiggy, Instamart. Yes, I want fruits in 15 minutes. Less exact 15 minutes, they have the delivery in front of you. It all depends on how do you manage the warehouse, the quality of data, and also the data architecture, integration. Now I have got some stock in my warehouse. How do you integrate the data into an online portal or a warehouse portal where I can see that on a live dashboard? Today I've got this much of stock and this is what is available and blah blah blah. For example, if I'm the HR of an organization, today the moment I get into a integrated system or a CRM like 24/7 HRM or a KK, moment I open, I should be able to see who are my teammates today, how many are present, who are all on leave, who did not yet report to the work. How is it possible? It all depends on the integration you do into the system and the data that you actually provide for the accuracy. Somebody XYZ who is not in my team is reflecting in my team. Imagine what would be the mistake done by the HR. That's a blunder. So what type of standards should be followed? Honestly, to talk about data, data analysis, data analytics, it takes at least complete 2 to 3 months in detail. So this is the example I was trying to show. So student database, can somebody identify what are the mistakes in the screen and tell me, did you find any mistake or is it right? Is it right, wrong? Is there anyone who can find like this Excel sheet is absolutely right? Or are there any errors? We just spoke about it. Even Sar has said something about this.
Seems to be
Can I
right.
have my Excel sheet? Is it right?
Seems to
Seems
be
to be
right,
right.
actually.
Okay. Anyone else who says it is right?
Yeah, I told the same. It seems to be right.
Yeah, it seems to be right.
Then if I want to conduct an analysis and generate a graph on this particular data, depending on the ID of the student from G001 to 0010, with the names, with the grades and description, okay, in what way I can do, ma'am? First of all, you just closely observe the top row of the Excel sheet. I have kept a heading. Is it the right place to keep a heading there? Can I have the heading on the first row, which is actually not relevant to the data? For every worksheet, there is an option to rename. You can rename the sheet one as student database. Why should we put the title of the worksheet on the top of the Excel sheet on the first row?
Oh, yeah. Correct. Yes.
Yes.
Number two, there are multiple tables in the same Excel sheet. The first one, which are already filtered. Baju mein I have got another great description. Under this, again, I have got different subjects. Again, in that, there are marks. Again, I see the duplication of the student IDs, but student ID with the different headings. Do you really think my data is accurate? And all of a sudden, if I want to generate a report on 1 to 10 students with the student name and whatever is required, will I be able to get a genuine graph and information?
No, sir. So actually now I'm understanding. So now basically what you're supposed to do is just keep one column for ID and then student name and merge this English, chemistry, physics, maths on the first table itself. And then one more for mark, percentage, grade, those remains the same. Just the thing
Exactly.
that you'll have to merge these English, chemistry, physics and maths to the first column itself.
Any other answers? Thanks for that. Any other? So now do we agree or is it still right?
No, it's not right.
This is at least far better, ma'am. Whatever you're saying, I get in a more worse, rotten condition of the data, and I'll take hours together to repair such data. So now I have this question. Before I ask this question, can somebody define what is analysis according to you? Why do we do analysis?
To interpret some results,
To interpret the
to
results. Okay.
take the management some decisions.
Do you do the decision making with analysis or analytics?
After analysis, certainly the
After analysis.
analysis helps in decision making only.
Okay.
After analysis.
Right. Any other, please? One more answer. Can I say the main goal of analysis is to break down the real complex information to smaller, more manageable parts, like what sir has said, to draw meaningful insights or conclusions?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
That's the purpose only.
That's the
To have
purpose,
a
right?
meaningful information and make it a
Absolutely.
short analysis so that we can
True.
make the short decisions, short meaningful information.
Because this we do with our doctors. If I go to a doctor, we don't get much time for hours together. What he gives is 2 to 5 minutes or maximum 10 minutes. In this 10 minutes, we submit our data properly. Sir, I've been suffering with headaches since 2 days. I have vomitings. My left side of the head is getting severe pain. Blah, blah, blah. If I don't give my data properly, he will say, go and take Dolo 650 and sleep. That means my data is wrong. The analysis is wrong. So my treatment is wrong. If I explain my data clearly with the 10 or 5 symptoms that I have got, then the data is clear. The doctor will do a deep diving analysis. If needed, he will ask for a test, or he will say, okay, depending on this, these are the medications you are given. You come back after 3 days. In case of emergency, you come back after 1 day also. That means he could draw a meaningful insight or a conclusion based on the inputs that we gave to the doctor. If not, our treatment just remains with Dolo 650. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, in case
Yeah,
of
right.
production also, when we say that how much percentage rejection is there in the shop floor for last week, or what is the percent utilization of machines in the last week, so data
Okay.
has to be analyzed,
True.
and
True. Very much
then we
true.
can
Yes, please.
get that percentage. How much percentage rejection is there on the shop floor, or how much percentage utilization is there of the machine, or the all machines are running, all is the rejection is more than a percentage assigned for that.
Right. So, sir, I think you do a deep dive analysis very regularly on a lot of factors.
Yeah, I was there in systems audit for 9 years. So we are collecting the data, making the analysis.
Or
And
the moment you
yeah,
said
yeah,
audit, I can understand your whole day and whole experience was with the data.
yeah.
So coming back, so these are some of the examples that we can speak about analysis, like where we actually get to know the kind of activities we have done and what is the thing we can actually conclude with. But coming back to analytics, this is a term which has got a prominence in the last 5 to 7 years, very, very much when the people started saying data analytics, business analytics, or a kind of this analytics. But if you deep dive and look into that, it is all the same old statistical terminology that people were actually working on. I'll explain what exactly are these. Is just an image, but I'll tell you, when I talk about analytics very clearly, this primarily involves most of the time the data, a lot of statistical algorithms, machine learning techniques, which helps us to draw certain meaningful insights and patterns that also makes us to see we make some informative decisions, driving proper strategies, and also it helps in optimizing the performance in various ways. For example, you have got 10 employees in your team, you collected some data about their performance. With that performance, you did some analysis. Now you analyze it that this is what is expected and this is where the employees are standing. Now, if you start doing analytics with this particular data, that helps you to withdraw the insights and make you very clear that, okay, in case if I give an option at this particular point of time with this kind of performance for this employees in the next 3 months, what kind of results can be expected? Is it really worth to spend on this employee? Or else, do I need to fire this employee? Analytics are very much used in terms of employee firing. I'm not sure how many of you agree that. Do you agree, sir? Ma'ams?
Yes, yes. Performance also helps in deciding the incentive to the employee.
Right. So we have different types of analytics.
Yeah.
Number one, you are all very much aware. First one is what we call as the descriptive analytics, where we actually summarize the whole historical data by giving proper insights, okay, about whatever has happened in a specific time. Like for example, in the last 2 years of the time, what has happened in your campus, what type of events have happened, what type of seminars have happened, what type of new projects have come in, what much research has been done. So I will consolidate whole data. I can give a detailed description and come up with an analytical report looking at the last 2 years of the statistics or the data I have. I can see the next 1, 2 years of the future of the organization, where this might go or where this might end. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
right.
Similarly, we have got diagnostic analytics. Diagnostic analytics is another area where, especially with respect to the sales, with respect to sales, again, coming back to the college, since most of you are from the colleges, I'm taking the college example. Now, the kind of data that we capture in the service, I mean, the works that are being done, that will, with the kind of information you have, you need to analyze your customers. Like, for example, first year, like in 2021, your college had a good admission count of 3,000 intake. 22, it fell down to 2,500. 23, it came to 1,800. 24, it came to 1,500. Now, are we actually doing this analysis and then analytics on why the numbers are going down and where do we stand in this sales and how to improve it back? Many organizations doesn't do this. This is what a doctor will do, diagnosis, the way how he treats the patient. We should also be analyzing our students, our employees, our sales, everything in a diagnostic manner. Then only we'll get to know what is happening and we can see how we can improvise the condition for getting some better enhanced results. The third one is predictive analytics. I can say predictive analytics are nothing but parrot stories. When you walk on the roadside, you see a small parrot which will pick out a card and it says, based on the card, your future is this. But do you really think that will happen? How many of you have tried this?
No, it will not happen.
It never happens. If anyone says, no, that happened with me, I'll be more than happy to gift a parrot. I'm sorry, because this I see even in an organization, depending on the historical data that you have in hand, we use various statistical models. You say one-way ANOVA, two-way ANOVA, you do any kind of statistical analysis or you apply any ML, machine learning technique, whatever it is, you need to do this. Why? Because if you are running a service sector company, you need to understand your customer behavior. For example, if it is Amazon, I'm buying the product. Every time I'm returning it after 2 days. I'm buying the product. Every time I'm asking for a refund. I'm buying the product. Every time I'm giving a one-star feedback. Now the company will come back and see, why is this going wrong? Is a mistake with the customer, or is a mistake with the product, or is the mistake with the delivery? They have to analyze and they need to come out with a prediction how to stop this. Sales forecast, risk assessment in financial market. If any one of you are very good in shares purchases, NSE, then I think you must be able to understand what is predictive analytics. Next is prescriptive analytics, where we talk about supply chain operations, investment portfolios. And the most important and the last analytics that comes across is virtual assistants, the so-called AI chatbots, automated customer service. I'm sorry to say, but this is really killing the industry. When we say automated customer service, I always try to reach the Airtel to talk to a human being, which never happens so easily. I'm not sure how many of you have tried in the past or even today. Is it so easy? Do you think we can reach Airtel customer service so easily? Yes, no.
It is difficult to maintain that.
It's very difficult, sir. It is very difficult because the kind
Yes.
of technology we have incorporated today, it's very, very difficult. So that is where we call it as cognitive analytics, where technology interferes with AI and NLP, natural language processing, including machine learning and deep learning, but that is not so user friendly. Now, after looking at all these things, coming back to the actual part of HR analytics, okay, this is nothing but the collection and application of talent data to improve critical talent and business outcomes. Now, with the data you have in hand, okay, now how do you improve your employee performance? How do you retain your employee? How do you structure the payroll? How do you make the recruitment more effective and interesting for the new joiners or the organization existing employees? How do you measure the performance? How do you do the iteration? How do you do the succession planning? There are many ways which we other way call it as people analytics. I'm sure you must have heard this word, right? So deeply data driven and goal focused methods of studying all people processes, functions, challenges, and opportunities at work to elevate these systems and achieve sustainable business success. End of the day, the college has to run and the salaries needs to get delivered. It's not just one person responsibility. Everybody have to deliver their targets and tasks. And that's when the HR will be able to make a right decision that this can be paid, this cannot be paid, this can be laid off, this cannot be laid off, that retention can happen. It's everyone's contribution, but the decision maker is only HR at that point of time. How do they make the decisions? This is how they make. They look at your numbers, they look at your performance, they look at your work style, they look at your engagement with the teams, they look at many factors, they look at what is your contribution to the business expansion. So many things comes in place. Unless or everything is really in a contribution model, HR cannot do anything. So we must have heard of something called people analytics. It will have data analytics, which we spoke a lot about data. It has got HR analytics, financial analytics, which we now call it as fintech, where Carvi and other life insurance companies and big bankers are into this technology, fintech, where they use blockchain. And we also have a basic HRM, administrative HR. So to speak up, there are many things that are in place, but the only challenge is how many of us actually follow and use this at the workplace. So employee surveys. How many of you do the employee surveys in your organization? Do you roll out any Google form and take the feedback either from your students or from your employee colleagues, or if anyone is in HR, do you do it for your organization here? Or do you follow any of the methods you see on the screen?
Sometimes those who do PhD or sometimes MBA, they
Sure.
take this type of surveys.
Right. Anything, whatever you see on the screen. What are the areas that you think being a person working in a college will do? If not in HR, as a normal individual, we do research service. What else we can do? Or how many of you regularly talk to your HR? How many of you talk to your HR regularly? No one? Ma'am, is this till 5 o'clock?
Sir? Yes, sir. Yeah, but you can
Oh,
extend it for for a few minutes also.
okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Now, coming back, why should we use HR analytics? Is typically in a corporate perspective, I'm telling you, to improve talent acquisition. Now, where do I use HR analytics in talent acquisition is something that I need to really look at, because that is the one area where I'm trying to hire the people for my organization. I need the right talent. So what type of talent do I need? What are the parameters I need to really look in? What type of areas that I need to really focus on? And that is something which makes a big difference at work for me. Can somebody tell me one or two points if you have a knowledge about where do you use talent acquisition, I mean HR analytics in talent acquisition?
We can we can
Then
Oh,
a retention rate, and also we do it in manpower planning. Like we need to first take a survey on how much of people we need for this period, and then we will do this. In case if it is excess, we don't do. Otherwise, if we need, we plan only for that amount. And then majorly we do it for retention rate.
okay.
also field wise. What talents are required field wise? Say for production, for maintenance, for electrical maintenance, for maintenance, for finance. So talent required for field wise.
And
So
also in human resource planning, that how much means people we need at what positions, and what with what all qualities we need them. So I think in that also we use it.
Okay. So great. I think you all have done you're all great researchers. I think if you get an opportunity, you do much better than what I'm doing today. So basically, when we talk about talent acquisition and how it can be improved, like what does the business HR do with respect to talent acquisition? What sort of strategies? There are only three areas where the talent acquisition require these analytics. Area number one. Probably if someone is interested in the end, I'll share my email address and phone number. I can share a detailed presentation which has got about 150 slides Since I don't have much time, I'm not presenting it in detail, but I'll share the detailed presentation which you can use for your references. There is no copyright on this. But point number one here is for talent acquisition. Number one, where the business HR will use efficiency. When I talk about efficiency, how efficiently I'm utilizing my resources and how efficiently I'm getting the outcomes out of the process, and what is the kind of a volume or a time or cost involved along with the source in this, how much hiring volume is needed, how much vacancies to be filled, how much time is needed to fill, and how many source of hires, from where should I get the sources, and what are the external benchmarks as an HR I've got in terms of efficient results. So if you are hiring faculty for your college, it is always important to identify how many you require, from where do you require, what are the vacancies to be filled out, and how much deadline you have to fill. That's more important. In a span of 2 months, I want 120 faculty to be filled. Now you need to do a deep diving analysis, from where do I get the profiles and what budget I need for it, and what are the various sources of getting these candidate profiles, and what is the hiring volume, like how many candidates can I call in a day for recruitment, and how quickly can I make the decisions, many things. And number two is the effectiveness. You hired a candidate, not some XYZ or Karthik is hired. Now, what are the talent outcomes, the quality of candidates that you are hiring? So, have you really checked that it's not just the PhD or the MTech that they have? Are they soft spoken? Are they the ones the industries or the students really need? Are they ones who just come and do something which the student is not impressed? What is the quality? Is the quality of hiring good? Is the quality of the candidate good? Is a candidate, the kind of candidate pool that you collected is really depth and worthful, or is it just like I found someone who just did an AI resume? And if you have hired the candidate, what is the hired performance? And in case if somebody is moving out, how do you take the retention rate and how do you work on it? And finally, impact. After doing a lot of research like this, and what is the impact on the business? Is it really working? Did it meet the actual workforce requirements? Or is there something else that you need to internally do as an IJP? There is a lot of things that you need to work with respect to talent acquisition. Similarly, with staff retention, improve like employee experience, accurately identify skill gaps. Any organization must make a mandate that every 6 months, the employee must do the upskilling and produce that certificate, which is useful for the organization development and for the person development to work in the same organization. Or else, even after 10 years, I'll be in my same place with the same old laptop, with the same old salary. Rest everyone are growing, and such people are underutilized. Increase workforce productivity. It all depends on the strategy that the HR will come up with. Consolidating the data from different departments and third party sources. You need to run a feedback model where you actually try to get the data from various sources about one particular employee or entire team, and also relate this to a third party source. Let them do an audit from outside and you do an audit from inside, and then you will get to know what is the actual outcome. Privacy and compliance challenge, data security matters. Insufficient IT resources for HR, for performing analytics. To do all these things, you need Microsoft Power BI. You need Python for programming, but your laptop doesn't even work with Microsoft Windows 95, with MS Office 95. Do you really think you will be a successful HR then? Never. We can never be. Inability to access quality data. You don't have the access. You don't know what kind of data you are pulling. You wanted to do hire an employee, but unfortunately, you're getting the employee data of job seekers from such a state where they hardly might have passed their 10th graduation, but somehow they managed, they get their MBA. And such profiles will come. What is it we are doing with them? Quality is gone. Your time is wasted. And finally, potential data bias. Now, this we just discussed in the beginning, because though it is here and there, but I spoke with you in the beginning itself. Descriptive, this image helps you to understand very clearly. Descriptive explains what is needed. Diagnostic explains why that has happened. Predictive gives the forecast that might happen. Now, prescriptive recommends actions based on the forecast. So, did we ever try to get an opportunity to apply all these in your day to day career or in your whole service?
Even in life, we can apply this, I believe.
Every day we will apply, ma'am.
Yeah, everyday life, we can apply this, I believe. Because if something happens, then what is the reason behind that? Then we go to the cause, that why it happened, then what it might cause in future, and what precautions I can take to avoid it in future. So I think if something happens, then we go through these stages.
So, it's a kind of a retrospection we do for ourselves.
I feel this, I believe this. Yeah.
It must happen. Pretty simple. My father always says, Karthik, today you came back from work? Yes. Before I sit at dinner, he asked me, have you done something which is productive today? If not, you don't eat food. Just go back and sleep. So then I'll go back and I'll try to recollect, what did I start? How did my day start? Where did I go? What did I do? Anything productive? Anything non-productive? What was good? What was bad? Where I went wrong? Where I went right? So a lot of things all of a sudden comes in place. And we do this even when we
Right.
go for purchasing something. We
Yeah,
want to
true.
buy a dress at home, our decision is something, and after going to the showroom, our decision is something.
Yes, definitely.
Especially this happens with children at home. They say, Mama, this is what I want. But after
Hmm.
going there, if you look at this whole graph, what we are seeing on the screen, that is what actually happens. Now
Yeah.
you'll start explaining to your family at घर में ये बोला लेकिन वहां जाने के बाद this person has said this and the picked
True.
up one was not this. So
Hmm.
why it happened? The too many choices in front of them. So forecasting, I expected, so I carried some additional cash. And finally, next time we'll not give the choice, we'll get the rest.
Yes, right.
Simple in a family perspective,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
absence rate, the key HR metrics that helps any analytics to be performed, absence per manager, overtime expense, or whatever we see, retention per manager, everything we will assess in such a way to run an organization successfully. We have to make sure that every metric that we follow has got a future introspection. Like, okay, if I do this in the next 3 years, that's why, as an HR, we ask a question whenever the candidate comes for an interview. Where would you like to see yourself after 3 years or 5 years? Do we ask? Do we ask that question? Where would you
Yes,
like to see
yes,
yourself after three to
Yes.
five
yes,
years?
yes,
We will
yes,
ask
So,
and
definitely.
we'll get very weird answers, very vague and weird answers. They'll say, I would like to see myself in your place. That means I need to look out for a next job.
yes.
They target my position. But that's not the answer. What is your vision? What is your strategy? In my experience, I can say it's proud. I rejected the people who came with a gold medal for interview. I rejected the candidates with gold medal just with one question. What was the strategy? How did you win this gold medal? And I gave 20 minutes time for one of the India's top five companies. And the person took 20 minutes. And after that, that university vice chancellor called and said, why did you reject my candidate? And I said, you tell me, how did your candidate got a gold medal? And he disconnected the call. So what was your strategy behind it? How were you successful? What made you to win this medal? What was your game plan? Is that just like you are like everybody who studied 8 hours, 12 hours? No, there must be something behind that, a trademark secret. What was that? So when you cannot explain what you did, you cannot define the result, and you cannot do any future forecasting. And that's where when no employee is coming openly to an HR, prediction goes very much wrong, and we'll not be able to see the growth in the organization nor in the employee at any point of time. So Fitzpatrick's four-level training evaluation. Training is very important. I'm not sure how many of you agree. Can I ask this question? How many of you upskill yourself very regularly? Upskill.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And like how many of us might have done certifications? Any certifications in HR?
I have done a MBA, and where a subject was there of HR.
Okay, there are ample number of certifications today in the market which anybody can do. But the reason why I'm saying to do certification is the best part or beauty with HR is wherever you are working with that title of HR, you're seen like a god. Just that what all they need is okay. If you're a certified HR, trust me, you can make money in lakhs. I've done my SHRM certified course. It took almost 6 months for me to prepare. I've done three courses in HR. After that, I did my senior professional in HR, SPHR. And finally, really recently, 6 months back, I've done SHRM Senior Certified Professional, which is SCP. With this, today, I'm a consultant for over 15 companies, and which is actually helping me to talk to people about various aspects where they are going wrong and correcting them. It's not that I'm making money, but my certifications brought me. You can even do a basic thing called certified professional in talent development. And if you do it, you are a part of employee talent development, and that has a great bandwidth. Or if you say, no, I wanted to be into a pure HR, you can do a professional HR certification, which is very less to less than about 5 to 8,000 rupees. You can become a professional in HR at an international level. There are many websites if you want. If anybody is interested, you can ping me on my personal window. You can reach me out. I can definitely help you out to get a right certification, which will make you to be a consultant, which will make you to be a consultant. All these things, whatever we see on the screen, employee engagement, training, data visualization, how do you make decisions? All these things I might know theories, but if some company has to call me, if some company has to talk to me, then yes, all these things I need a certification. And that's what I have done. I've spent almost close to 1.7 lakhs on these three certification courses. And today I'm recognized. Why? Because I know more than 27% of the companies today and more than 49% of the education institutions who run their own HR are doing blunders with respect to their employees, with respect to their administration, with respect to their additional tasks where the employees are getting suffered, which in turn results in the organizational loss. So we need to be very clear in terms of identifying and recruiting top talent by utilizing the online database like LinkedIn Naukri, leading to a faster and efficient recruitment. If you want people in 1 week, complete it in 4 days. Don't take it for another 1 week. You need to make decisions so strong in terms of L&D. Do you have a strong L&D team in your organization is something that you need to really look into. Mapping out the present corporate culture, HR analytics enables organizations to measure and get insights on short-termings and then take deliberate actions about whatever entry level to management decisions, starting from a security or a housekeeping to a CEO or a founder of a company. It all depends on what data you have in hand about them and what decision to be made, how much better insights you can develop, what sort of employee retention and turnover you can come up with, what are the areas of gap that you can reduce, and most importantly, the business outcomes. Where should I invest? How much I should invest? What type of resources I need? How much is this? Everything that we need to really understand, and then only we'll be able to. But honestly, if you want to understand this HR analytics, I need about 3 to 5 hours of time. Whoever is interested, probably can talk to me on a Sunday. I can get all those contents explained, and I will also help you to meet some of the you know industry leaders who will give you a real good real-time insights. I think for now I'm stopping it here because I have got another 120 plus slides to go with, which the time is not sufficient. But end of the day, when I talk about HR analytics, you need to learn not only just basic Excel. One must have the knowledge about Microsoft Power BI and then Microsoft complete MS Office, Microsoft Power BI. If you are interested in coding, you can go for R or Python. If you want to do visualization, drag and drop, you can go for Power BI. But advice is whether you are a faculty or an HR professional, as long as you are under the head of HR, you please try to take up a certification in HR, which leads you to be a great analyst and analytics professional. And in that case, regards, I can definitely help you. You can take my contact details from ma'am, and I think that should be something I can help the people with if someone is seriously interested.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you so much, sir. For it was such an insightful session, and we had learned many things on related to HR analytics. Now, can I ask audience if there are any questions from the audience? So they are asking your LinkedIn ID, so it would be very nice
Yes.
if you can share it in the chat box.
Okay. My LinkedIn ID now. Okay. Because since that I'm on a tab, just give me 1 minute. I should be able to come back to the screen chats. Yeah. They can do one thing. I'm just dropping my number, ma'am. Okay. They can talk to me on. They can just drop in a message, and I'll share my credentials with them. Is that okay?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, sounds good, sir. Yeah, thank you so much. So is there any questions from your end? Anyone has any questions, please unmute yourself and ask.
It's hardly 2% is what I have covered
Yes, sir.
of the
Yeah.
whole content. But
Actually, sir, yes, sir. Your session was really very nice and it was crystal clear. And we also had an interactive session. So I think questions, let me again wait for a few minutes if there are any questions popping up from the
or else they
audience.
can reach me out even later. They can reach me out, and I'm always open for a discussion over a call or a WhatsApp, anything, or an email. Also, I shared. They can just drop in a message, and I should be able to respond to that, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Yeah, sounds good, sir. So,
I think I'll also be able to give that ID.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Once again, I express my gratitude and thanks to you, sir, Karthik, sir, for sparing time from your hectic schedule to impart this information to us. We are speechless by your invaluable presence at this session. You have provided in-depth knowledge of the HR analytics. We shall bide by our time. We shall bide by our time for such further workshops in order to advance both our personal and collective knowledge. Additionally, I want to thank everyone in this attentive audience for their smart questions and active involvement. This event is considerably more meaningful because of your participation.